Hello and welcome to Pints and Quarts, a show presented by Craft Beer Nation. Today is February 26th, 2015, and our guest this episode is David Szamborski. He is the head brewer at 21st Amendment Brewing. Our show tonight is again sponsored by our friends at craftbeveragejobs.com. Check them out online for jobs in the beer, coffee, and wine industries. We want you to stick around for our conversation with Zambo, so get your beer in a glass and get comfortable. Actually, while the music's playing, now would be a great time to take a few seconds and subscribe to our YouTube, Stitcher, or iTunes channels.
Time now for a look back at the last week in the craft beer industry. Pour a cold one and sit back for an all-new episode of Pints and Quarts, presented by Craft Beer Nation.
All right, we're back, and this week we've got I'd call him an old friend. We had him on about a year or so ago. We've got Zambo from 21st Amendment. Along with the panel, we've got Randy, Lola, Doug, Gil, Charles, and myself, Matt Miller. Zambo, how are you, and thanks for joining us.
I'm fantastic. Thank you guys for having me again. It's great to see you all.
We're excited to hear about what you guys have going on out there at 21st Amendment. So give us a little breakdown. You've got a production brewery and then a restaurant brewery as well too?
Yeah, we got an unbelievable amount of things going on right now. Yeah, we have our brew pub. We're going to have our 15th anniversary this August. We're doing fantastic. We got 3 Giants championships in the last 5 years since I got here, so doing something right over there.
Us East Coast guys couldn't be more happy for you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Especially us Nats fans.
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, it's good to support baseball anywhere you can get it because baseball and beer have always kind of gone hand in hand. So that was just kind of something I lucked into there. But yeah, we're building a whole another brewery over in San Leandro. It's I call it a 1 hectobarrel facility. I mean, it's 100 barrels per batch, but per cycle. But we have some much larger fermenters and serving tanks over there. So it's very exciting. It's an old Kellogg's factory. They used to make Pop-Tarts and Eggo waffles there, I believe. And they have more space than they know what to do with, so it's a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of jobs out there. We do have a link on our website if anyone wants to look at those opportunities. And we'll have some tours here and there, but we should be rolling out beers by summer out of there. So hopefully the shelves will be totally stocked. We'll move into some new markets and, get that beer out there.
Is Florida one of those new markets? Lola was lamenting early on in the show that she doesn't get your stuff there. So.
I can understand. I went to high school in Florida.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Florida's on the list somewhere. I know. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about, but I do know Southern California's at the top of the list. Believe it or not, we're not down there, and that's where I came from. So, at least in the brewing industry.
We care about the East Coast. All of us. Everyone of us.
You sound a little bit like Brian Williams. You came from Florida. You came from SoCal. I mean, which is it?
I was born in Omaha, so there you go. Yeah, there were like 10 breweries from Omaha at the last GABF. Man, this industry is just exploding. We have 9 more in planning here in San Francisco, and we have more than twice as many as when I moved here 5 years ago.
Our job of the week this week is local brewing out there in San Francisco as well too.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. I know,
with local.
When I first went to San Francisco with my wife in 2009, I mean, there was nothing there. Really, I mean, other than 21st Amendment, really.
An Anchor, maybe.
Well, yeah. That's too big. Those two. It wasn't really.
Well, we're all in. I think all of us below are enjoying a beer of yours tonight here. I've
never had it.
I've got anything from that, Lola?
No, I'm in Florida.
That's worth crying over, really. I've got last year's Monk's Blood. I think a couple of you have this year's Monk's Blood. And Charles? Did I see Bitter American? One of you guys had that?
Yeah, I've got Bitter American.
That's a special beer. Is that on a rotating schedule? Is that a year round? What is that?
Bitter American is a year-round beer. However, Ham the Space Chimp has been working very hard, and he is overdue for retirement. So he is going to be coming back to Earth and taking a break from the whole astronaut thing. And we're going to re-release the beer under a new guise, but it will be out very soon, like in less than a month. So you guys get to see Ham's new adventure very shortly on your shelves. Stay tuned for that.
I noticed it wasn't on your website. That's why we were asking. So.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hams.
Lower the Boom is not on your website either. Right?
Lower the Boom.
The lower to, that's a good question. Lower to boom schedule. I was just talking to someone about that today, and I did not get the answer to that. So I'll have to get back to you on that. Well, we're just finishing Strong Beer Month ourselves. February is Strong Beer Month, and we have 6 on still, and so it's hard to think about other barley wines. And it just struck me today. We're about to lose one. I'm like, yeah, what's going on with Lower to Boom? So we'll find that out, and we'll let you know.
Cool.
So what else you got cooking? I mean, it sounds like you got your hands pretty well full. You're expanding, building a new brewery, and I mean, you said you're going to have beers from that place when?
They should be rolling out in the summer. We're also going to have a tasting room there that should be open the same time that we start operating there, which will be by summer. And I'll be supplying a lot of the beers over there too. So we're rolling out a lot of new stuff. In fact, this one in my hand right now is called Early Spring IPA, and it releases tomorrow. So you're getting the first look at it. Here, smell it.
Yeah.
Smell of vision.
Smell that? Yeah.
And that's going to
Really
be
nice. So it's got some floral hops under all the normal citrus stuff, and gives you kind of a spring-like feel. 6.4% because we're just finishing, 9 to 12% alcohol beers right now, so we need to back off a little. It's our version of the wagon.
So,
It's
so
the
this
lawnmower beer.
this facility, this is going to be the one. Aren't they like in San Francisco's putting a lot of money into the area around the ballpark? That's where this facility is going to be. They're trying to recreate the whole area, right?
Actually, our existing brew pub is near the ballpark, and the whole area kind of was recreated over the last 15 years. I came up here probably their second year of being open, and it was rough. There was so much construction. I moved here 5 years ago. That was all done. It's beautiful. 2nd Street's gorgeous, but it was all dirt, and there was still some characters that you wouldn't like to be hanging around your business and stuff like that. So that's all kind of cleaned out now. A designer turned all the warehouses into kind of live-work lofts, and that brought some good attention here. Now there's .com companies everywhere, or can we call them .coms anymore? I don't know what you call them now. But yeah, there you go. Lots of tech companies, and they are all beer drinkers, which is awesome. But no, our production facility is in San Leandro, which is about 30 miles. It's East Bay, down south, past Oakland, about 20 miles past Oakland. Yeah. And they're all very excited there. We're right next to Drake's Barrel House, and so it's kind of creating a new beer destination for people to do. And you can take BART down there and get pretty close. The whole city's very excited. We're bringing a lot of jobs in, and that's great right now. So it's an exciting project. I hope you guys get out there for a tour or something soon.
So those tech workers, besides liking craft beer, they've also got disposable income.
They've got money.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, one of them, who is one of our regulars, has cashed in some of his stock, so to speak, and is starting a small label in the San Francisco area. I don't have all the information on that yet, but he says he's got some clients already, and this is just a tech worker who loved brewing. It's not far off of most of the brewer stories. We came from somewhere else, and we found a way to kind of get our way into the industry, and just hope that it works out for you, and you get lucky like me, and I get to sit here on an internet show and drink beer and just talk about it. It's pretty awesome.
So
that's
are you going to be moving between the two breweries? Are you going to do most?
I'll be over there some. Yeah, I will be over there some. I was brewing at the other production brewery on and off. Just some special releases. They also have the plan of putting a little pilot brewery in there a little later, kind of a 7-barrel, but that's going to be a year or two behind. And also the restaurant you mentioned. We'll get back to that, but. I've been here at this pub for 5 years. I live close to it, and I just love this place. I love the people here, and they're like the ultimate beer judges. So I can experiment here and do all kinds of stuff and walk out there and, quietly sit off to the side, or I can be active about it, but I can get better market research than I ever got when I was in marketing research before I was a brewer. So it's a pretty amazing place to be, and I think this is where I'm going to be.
And craft beer is getting more popular than cereal, I guess, right? Since you're moving to the Kellogg's factory.
Yeah, that's true. More popular than Pop-Tarts. Thank you for that.
Well, you guys are fortunate not only because you got educated beer drinkers there, but I think just on the West Coast in general. I mean, you guys have your states and cities are are more leery of the benefits of the economic impact of beer. On the East Coast, we can't say that up and down the seaboard because we got some states that are, a little antiquated with their laws.
Yeah.
So, you guys are definitely fortunate to be there, and for the amount of breweries that you said are in planning and stuff like that. So you guys on the West Coast are blessed. We envy you in that aspect of things.
It's interesting that you say that because a lot of the people who have been here and helped form the backbone of the craft beer industry over the last 20 years are actually moving to the East Coast. They're opening spots in the Carolinas and in Virginia and places like that. So I think what's happening out here is just there's that type of person, a lot of them, like you mentioned, the higher educated tech people, us geeks who just used to use our knowledge for something fun like beer, that something you could use your math skills at a party. Wow, what? Oh yeah, I made this beer. This took math. Isn't that amazing? So I think we just kind of have a lot more of that type of people, and I'm sure have them in the cities. Kind of watch the homebrew stores. That's really how you can judge how many homebrewers there are in the area, and the homebrew clubs and things like that, which I encourage everyone to get involved in. It's great stuff. But yeah, man, the East Coast is getting a surge right now, so don't worry, there'll be plenty there soon enough. I mean, the real estate is definitely cheaper, and that's a big factor as people try to expand,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we don't have a 5-year drought running too, so.
Yeah.
Like California does.
Man.
Do you have to make
sure could use some rain.
make decisions in production based on water allowances and stuff?
Well, at the bigger one, I'm sure we will. At the brew pub right now, we don't, but we have no fear of that happening because we're really good about what we do already. Basically, you can't just say you need to use less than what you use now. You kind of have to audit people's practices to be fair. So we reuse a lot of water. We try to make sure as little as possible goes down the drain. Yeah, and we have great water too. We don't have to treat it. We don't have to do much here other than sometimes we adjust the minerals for certain beers. That's about it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Straight out of the tap.
Yeah, I was in 2 different parts of Los Angeles when I first started brewing, and they had very different water and very different filtration systems, and the beer was a little different. Brewing the same recipes for BJ's back there. So you kind of have to learn to adjust. Here it's like extremely forgiving. It's a good place. Maybe that's why everyone's starting to brew out here. They don't have to worry about the water.
Because I know a lot of those West Coast facilities that are coming out east, they have to mimic the water to make it match their home, so that things would be the same. Because the waters out here are so good. They'd have to.
We're all gonna talk smack about our water. Is that it?
Yeah. Well, he's talking smack about baseball, so we get the top water.
I wasn't trying to talk smack. I was just smiling a little.
You're just a fan of the better team. That's all.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely my local team in that I can practically throw a can of beer from my front door and hit their stadium.
That's probably
At least I can roll it down the hill.
Yeah, there we go.
So you guys are planning anything new? Any surprise for us that you can kind of just between us and?
Yeah, what do you do
between us? Well, I mentioned that Ham is retiring, and that's a big surprise that they can't wait to unleash very soon. Ham the Space Chimp. Let's see. The big brewery is going to have some new beers, as well as some of the classics. At the pub, we're going to roll out a lot of new beers because I now have. I don't know if any of you have been to our little brew pub, but man, it's a little room with a lot of heart, and it's really hard to move beer around there. You got to stick it in every corner you can just to keep enough variety around. But we're also going to be sending some over to that tasting room in San Leandro. So the one thing I'm missing is a keg washer. Believe it or not, one little bottleneck can change your whole business. So San Leandro, of course, is as I mentioned, a 100-barrel facility. It's large enough to, probably build a 747 in if you need to, but we don't need that. So they're going to have a steady flow of clean kegs coming my way, which means I'm going to be moving beer out as fast as this little brew pub can make it. So yeah, I do have some surprises coming. I don't totally know what they are yet. Send me some ideas. I will be rebranding.
I have an
people
idea.
Have asked about the Egyptian beer.
Gil's got an idea.
Yeah.
He always does.
I'm looking for a brewery that's gonna make a hazelnut chocolate stout. I don't want to call Nutella stout for legal reason, but I'll just leave out there. But something like it.
Well, have you had Rogue's?
I would
Rogue
fly
has
to-
the hazelnut chocolate porter, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, but it's not.
Did
Rogue.
not know that.
No, I'm looking for. I don't want to trash them. I'm looking for a good.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about Rogue right now.
No, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. So that kind of, maybe you should try the Northeast.
Maybe it's a
Or
Washington.
Rogue.
We need to make it.
No, yeah, I love doing experimental stuff like that, but the darker, I mean, we're kind of known for our drier and hoppy beers and stuff. We do fancy dark stuff. It's usually when the weather turns a little, and it's just been, as you mentioned, we're in a drought. It's been hot, hot, hot. So, well, you know what, Gil? Why don't we just collaborate on that, and we'll brew it on your home system. I'll just hit you up over the internet waves and let you know what you're
stand
doing
my-
right
I'll
and wrong.
pick-
And
I'll pick you up at the airport. You can stay in my house.
Maybe we'll pitch this idea again in like October, and he'll be a little warmer to the notion.
Yeah, you don't want to come here right now.
well, that's the playoffs.
But right. So,
Yeah.
I know,
go
not the
ahead.
Braves fans. Zambo, you guys can 100% of your beers? What, can and kegs?
Can and keg, that's correct, yeah.
Okay, so what was the genesis behind making that decision? Because, I mean, few breweries are 100% can. I mean, all things considered, right? So, was it are you an outdoorsman? Being from, I think you said you're from Omaha.
I was born in Omaha. That was the first year of my life, and probably the most impressionable. But I just don't remember any of it.
So did you make this decision with campers in mind, or
sure. Yeah, I didn't actually make the decision. Sean and Nico made the decision to package some 7 years into their brew pub career, and they actually hand canned. I still have the equipment. They would hand can these things, and eventually realized it's a philosophy. There's actually 6 great reasons on the bottom of every one of our boxes as to why to can. But the reason I think you see some that do both is because they were bottling and now they're realizing the merits of cans. One of the challenges that Sean and Nico identified when they first made that decision was the re-education process, because some of those most flavorless, horrible, outdated, devolved beers came in cans for the past 50 years. So they had to start putting some exciting stuff in cans right out of the bat and educating people on it. So we have a beer garden outside of our place on game days and on other beautiful days, and they do canned beer only, but we bring in other cans like Maui brings Bikini Blonde or Dale's Pale Ale from Oscar Blues, just so people know we're trying to support cans, not just what we're doing. And this has been going on for 7 or 8 years now, and I don't know if you've watched the news, but pretty much all the big guys, Sierra's doing cans. Everyone's messing with cans now, for 6 great reasons. And just to throw them at you real fast, more recyclable, it's a lot lighter to ship, so we're saving fossil fuels, which is pretty important right now. Less headspace in the top of the can, so less oxidation.
Light.
What else? You can take in places you can't take bottles, like beaches, boats, and camping, as you mentioned.
It's a miniature keg.
And
They crush better on your head. They crush a lot better on your head.
Keeps the light out. Light struck. Keep things from getting light struck.
No light struck. Yes.
You can shotgun them.
You can shotgun. Yep. You can shove them up a chicken and throw it on a grill. And
And whoever is making the artwork for your cans is doing an excellent job.
Isn't that awesome?
Those
It
cans
is.
are really
Yeah.
beautiful.
I love the artwork too. That's good stuff.
The sneak attack is just hilarious.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Zambo's going to stay with us, and we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of news stories and make the headlines. Oh, there's a sneak attack. We've got a review. Our review of the week is someone who enjoyed sneak attack Saison. But from the news, we're going to lump a couple legislative things all together here. Charles, you want to take us through the legislative news of the week?
Sure thing. There's a couple of different stories we've been looking at. We over at the Cincinnati Business Courier, they had an article the other day about a bill moving in the House legislation to prevent craft brewers from outside of the state from owning distributors inside Kentucky. I think it started mainly in response to AB InBev buying their second distribution company inside Kentucky, and they're worried that there's just more and more macro beers are going to be distributed and pushing the local Kentucky beers out. The problem with this legislation is it basically make it illegal for Anheuser-Busch to own distributors inside Kentucky. But it also will prevent, there's a brewer in Cincinnati, Rheingeist, and they started River Ghost distributing in Kentucky. So they can distribute Ohio beers, including their own, into Kentucky. And they've been approached by craft brewers from all around the country to get their beers into Kentucky. But they're going to be basically a victim of stopping Anheuser-Busch's taking more control of the industry. And it actually, in a follow-up article I saw on the Courier Journal, it's the Zambo beer bill is what it's called. It's the state speaker who's pushing the bill. It's already passed their local house, and now it's moving on to the Senate. And from the looks of it, there are local craft brewers in Kentucky who actually support it, because they don't like any outside state competition from any other state coming in and doing business in their state. They seem to be pretty protective. So that's where that's at now. So it's waiting on the Senate to see what's going to happen, if it'll pass there. And then that whole back and forth. But the other one we've been looking at is down in Georgia, where Georgia is one of just a couple of states that does not allow beer to be sold in tap rooms. They have it's a completely strict three-tier system there. And there's a bill trying to get that passed. But there's been a lot of controversy down there. There's talk that the lieutenant governor, who's going to be running for governor in a couple of years, is squashing the bill because he gets big donorship from all the big craft beer, the macro wholesalers and the distributors. They contribute a lot to his lieutenant governor campaign, and he wants that backing when he runs for governor. And some of the people in the committee who have the bill ready to go for a vote were elected or appointed by him, so there's fear that they're not going to stand up to him if he's going to become their governor in 2 years. And right now that bill's in total peril, because if it doesn't get voted on by the 13th of March, it dies until the next year's session. So Georgia's only a couple of weeks away from learning whether there's going to be movement on this year, or they're going to have to wait another year just to even approach the subject again.
And that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, is states and cities or whatever taking advantage of beer economy, because I mean if a brewery can't have a tap room where they can sell beer, and in Georgia's case they can sell the glass, and the beer in the glass is free.
It's free.
But
you bring your own glass, and they have to give you free beer.
Right. So if you allow these breweries to have tap rooms, you open up a ton of jobs. And you also become more attractive to breweries, to additional breweries within the state. So, I mean,
and I think wineries and stuff already have that. I mean, the wine and liquor industry seem to have these exceptions. It's just this push to keep craft beer from joining their ranks, because the big money is where AB InBev and all those guys are.
The frustrating
article, though, I just wanted to mention that article about that was on omnivore.com. It's their food culture served fresh website. Just want to give credit to where we've been getting some of this info from.
Yeah, I mean, it's like how it was in Virginia, just a few years back. Because before, what was it, like 2-3 years ago, where in the state of Virginia breweries couldn't sell beer in their tap rooms. It was, I know one of the local breweries here was you pay $5, you got a tour and 5 samples and a pint glass. And then since they changed the law and allowed breweries to sell in their tap rooms, I mean, in the last couple of years, I know Randy and Matt know, I mean, the amount of breweries that have come up in the state of Virginia in the last couple of years is just insane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the big change in Virginia was when they allowed them to sell beer without food. So they could open an nano brewery, and make small amounts of beer and sell beer without having to have food go with it. So, but thanks for...
I have one quick question, though, for Zambo from Tom Snyder, since we're talking about Georgia.
Sure.
Zambo, Tom wants to know, do you guys distribute to Georgia at all?
We are in Georgia. I'm proud to say. I went to Georgia Tech. I have some of my old buddies there every now and then send me a note, show me a picture from a barbecue. Yes, we are in the state of Georgia. Not on Sundays, though. No separation of church and state in the Bible
I
Belt.
lived in Alabama for 5 years, so I know that.
So
Tri-counties in Alabama still, speaking of outdated
Yeah.
laws.
So Zambo was Omaha, Florida, Georgia, SoCal, and now San Francisco. So
You're missing KC, Mo, and Michigan, but yeah, and a little South Jersey.
I can't get your story straight.
yeah. So basically, you live in your car. Is that what we're getting to?
I lived in my parents' car. No, in between homes.
Ah.
In between by a few hours. No, we weren't homeless.
Well, that would make for a better.
My mother's
story,
birthday. Come on, don't make me say that.
Yeah, like she's watching this.
Well, happy birthday to her.
Oh, she's watching. Happy birthday, Mom.
That's why we got one viewer.
That's right.
Yeah. Mom, always there. She's always there.
Brad,
We know Tom Snyder's watching. I don't think his mother's watching. I don't think your mother's watching. We
no.
know Tom Snyder's watching. Your mother's like, it's my birthday.
We have more than one viewer. So.
All right, back on the rails here, everybody. Randy, talk to me about Full Sail.
Yeah, so everybody, we know that Full Sail is an employee-owned company, and when they first started, there were 47 employee owners, and now they've grown to 78 employee owners. And what happened was we got allaboutbeer.com. They were saying that basically Full Sail was approached last year with a sale opportunity. Well, I don't know if you want to call it a sale or a merger opportunity, and it didn't go through. And so they got approached again by Encore Consumer Capital and a local Oregon investor group calling themselves the Oregon Craft Brewers Company. So the CEO of Full Sail is Irene Fermat. Her and the executive brewmaster Jamie Emerson. I guess the deal that they got approached with is kind of like too good to just turn down. So what they did was they sent letters to all of the employee owners of the company saying, we need you guys to vote on this to see if we're gonna, make the decision to merge with this this capital company. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. If it goes through, there will no longer be obviously an employee-owned company. They'll be given like a stock option per se, and so there's been a lot of breweries being bought up recently. So this is going to be interesting to see how it fares out when the actual employee owners and not the sole owner of the brewery, but the employee owners actually have a say-so into how this thing shakes out. So it's going to be interesting to see how that decision is made. The juxtaposition between the one man selling the brewery out, selling out, and going potentially to a behemoth, and the decision now resting with the employee owners. Not saying that in Encore and the Oregon Craft Brewers Company are going to turn around and sell out to AB InBev or anything like that, but just to see how they're going to give up their employee ownership title to become something else. So,
well, money talks. So I guess if you're talking about one guy that can make 40 million or 40 people that can make 1 million, those decisions will get made. So if I'm a keg washer and I can make 300,000 on selling my portion of the company, I'm probably going to say yeah. So I mean,
Keg Washer Brewing Company opening next month.
Yeah. Sticking with the Northwest, a little bit of news, I guess. Really, Steve Luke of Elysian is the first one from the Elysian core to leave. I guess he kind of was planning on leaving anyway, but he's left Elysian and he's preparing to open Cloudburst Brewing. And I actually tweeted with someone there today, and they said they're hoping to have beer by the fall, late summer, early fall, and so that's the first of the departures from some of that merger kind of stuff. I guess he was going to go anyway, but it accelerated his departure.
Yeah, they bought that. It was Silver City. They bought their old brew house, which is a 10-barrel system, and now they're in the process of trying to find a used 15 and 30-barrel unit tanks. So they're already trying to grow. they aren't even fully operational yet, and they're already trying to grow.
I guess it's the time for expansion. So
Yep.
this week, our job of the week for craftbeveragejobs.com comes in from local brewing, also in San Francisco. Apparently, they're taking all resumes except for Zambo. That was one of the criteria for allowing him on the show. He's not welcome over there. Too important to 21st Amendment. But the job description is the head brewer will be responsible for leading the brewery operation. It will be the primary brewer, producing and refining existing flagship brews, as well as brewing a large roster of new creative beers that will be available exclusively in the beer bar. So equity ownership is a compensation supplement, may be available for the right candidate.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so they're trying to invest in bringing in some talent, and if you're that talent, you think you got the right stuff, then check out craftbeveragejobs.com, and you'll see all that kind of fun stuff there. That site's kind of fun to peruse for the techie in me that says I'll never work in the beer industry. It's kind of fun to look at that and daydream about doing some fun stuff. So everybody but Zambo can apply for that.
All right.
They don't want people with Z's in their name. I guess something about the work shirts are hard to embroider.
It'll help your odds a little.
Yeah, it really will. Yeah. If we were going for the job, it would be a lot. The review of the week this week comes from one of our friends on Google Plus and a contributor to the Craft Beer Nation, Patrick Rabe, and he reviewed the Sneak Attack Saison. So this is actually his whole review. I like it. Lemons and maybe other citrus and woodsy spice, pretty much the cardamom on the label, backed by flowers and grass. Pale bread works its way forward around the middle, then the beer dries out, with bitterness reasserting itself alongside additional peppery flickers. Peppery flickers, he says. Light body, nicely carbonated, drying, and briskly refreshing. Mostly clean and cleansing, just a couple threads of stickiness into the finish. A very nice Saison, more than unusual as a winter seasonal, but completely refreshing. All right, completely refreshing. Change of pace. Potently intense, suitably complex, delightfully well integrated, if a bit spice forward to be balanced. Exactly, though poised works well. Amazingly drinkable and convincingly true to style, delicious. So I think Patrick might have liked this beer.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
I get a little bit of flicker out of it too.
You get a little peppery flicker?
There's definitely some flicker in there.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's good flicker though.
What does flicker taste like?
Yeah.
Spark.
Tastes like love.
This is
Tastes like excitement.
Flicker tastes like
Really
love.
nice.
This is a family show.
Yeah, I find the cardamom to be just right. We brewed this a couple times at the pub before we went national with it, and it's a beautiful spice to work with. It's in the pepper family. It's got floral notes and everything, but a Saison, like with the Fantôme yeast, which is basically what we use, they get really dry. So you got to be very careful about the spicing, because with a dry beer, any little thing is going to just jump out at you in the face. So worked on it a few times, and we had our local judges check it out at the bar, and this is what we got. I'm pretty happy with it. And the can, if you saw the packaging, is Washington crossing the Delaware, kind of Steve Zissou style. They got the bellies hanging out and the outfits on. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't know who does your artwork, but it's fantastic.
TBD.
To be determined?
Yeah, no,
Hasn't been
that's
done yet?
the name of the firm.
Probably, and they're really excited about the new monkey can coming out here.
Oh yes, well everyone should be excited. Ham's finally retired. He was the first American in space. You know, he's shooting around in the trees. Everything's great, and then we pull him in and we say, "America needs you."
And he can teach
Yeah, we're
us
gonna give him a
more.
break.
Is he going to go out on tour?
No, he's going to the beach. What would you do?
I would go to the Caribbean.
I hope he's not wearing a thong. That's all I know. I mean,
You
monkey
guys
thong is something we
You
don't
guys are gonna
see.
have to find a way to incorporate peppery flickers into your into that
Absolutely, into
sneak
the
attack
marketing.
can, man. So
That's a good point. Like
Yeah.
old Schlocker.
It's great to see a Saison in a can.
Yeah, it's actually a perfect beer for a can. It's a summer, it's a drinking in the sun kind of thing. So you take it to the beach, wherever. Yeah, I like it.
Let's talk about our release of the week, our highlight here. is from a place that Charles knows and loves very well. Gil, what do you got on the Omegang's
Well,
release?
it's kind of a highlight release news altogether. Everybody knows that Omegang Brewery, Omegang Brewery, let me get that right, normally brews, or always brew, Belgian-style beers, and they are brewing their first American-style IPA. It's going to be called Nirvana IPA. So they developed the recipe at the Cooperstown Brewery, Omegang, but the beer is going to be produced at the Boulevard. Omegang is owned by Duvel Mortgrat, which bought Boulevard as well. So check them out. It seems that it's going to come in a 6-pack, and that's why they say they're doing it at Boulevard, because they don't have the structure to do 6-pack at the Omegang Brewery. So it's coming out, I think, next month. They have no date yet. It's going to be at 6.5% ABVs at 60 IBU. So I'm looking forward to what a brewery like Omegang will do with an American-style IPA. It's kind of so far out of their usual, so I'm excited about it.
What kind of hops, Gil?
They're doing the cattle hop. There's going to be Bravo, Simcoe, Centennial, Topaz, and Mosaic. And then they dry hop with a Centennial, Citrus, Simcoe, and Amarillo.
All the hops.
So
Yeah, all of them.
they didn't leave anything out.
Yeah, they're going big.
Steam-inspired beer.
The laundry list went into that beer. So yeah, I guess they want to really come out kicking. And I think the idea is to make an IPA that is kind of under 7%. I think.
Are they putting out an IPA glass, I wonder? I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah.
I actually want to try this beer, but I don't want to know what it is when I'm drinking it, because I won't be able to. I'll be imagining that Omegang Belgian yeast strain.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll be interesting.
they're going to have to pitch an American yeast strain or a non-Belgianly sweet strain, but we'll see.
I have a feeling it's going to be Boulevard rating all over it, other than the label.
Yeah, like a double wide. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, because the recipe was developed by the folks at Omegang, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well, if
wondering
it's
if
as
we'll
well
have a
made
Game
as
of
this-
Thrones version.
If it's as well made as anything that comes out of Boulevard, I think it'll be just fine. Their recipe
Yeah.
and the processes down there will be great. Other releases of mention, we interviewed Santa Fe folks last week. Their Irish Red Ale is out. It came out last week, so look for that all over the place. Those cans look delicious. That beer looks delicious, and the cans look great. Victory's got Deep Cocoa, a chocolate Baltic porter at 8%. That's a big lager. Comes out here to the end of February. Revolution out of Chicago's got Working Woman Brown Ale and Winter Woman Imperial Brown. That came out yesterday.
Made for me.
Made for you. Made for the
Right.
working gal.
In Florida.
In Florida.
In
Florida winter. Yeah.
Yeah. Founders has got KBS. The first part of the release, the KBS week is March 9th through 14th. 6 Point. We just had, we did a thing with them a couple of weeks ago, but they've got Abigail, an Abbey Ale that's coming out here, 8%. It's coming out here first week in March. There was an interesting spin on that. It was an Abbey Ale with what? Gil, do you remember what the...
I don't remember, and I
Seemed like
should.
there was an additive in that.
I'm gonna guess it has Gale in it. Sweet Gale. Because it's
Sweet
called
Gale.
Abigail.
Yeah, I don't know her, but she sounds interesting. Jester King has got Repose Farmhouse Ale brewed with hay and fermented in French brandy barrels. That's coming out in February. They don't usually miss the mark. I don't know what a beer with hay tastes like, but I bet it's going to be good. Breckenridge has got Batch 2 barley wine aged in French oak and Cabernet Sauvignon barrels. That comes out tomorrow. I had Batch 1 and it was delicious. I would imagine Batch 2 is going to be equally the same. These guys at 21st Amendment, tell us about your release again real quick. Coming out next week is going to be, or next month. What was that session?
This.
No,
I'm not
not
sure
Bitter
which one
American.
you're talking
It was-
about.
What's in your glass?
Well,
there?
tomorrow, in the glass I drank, tomorrow is early spring IPA.
Early
I call it
spring.
I use session very loose in the tongue there. Yeah, no, there's gonna be so much stuff coming out, and luckily I'm gonna be able to get it distributed. So anyone, basically the top of my target is anyone having a beer week. So we've got Seattle Beer Week, we've got Sacramento, we've got it going out to all those. The beer weeks are awesome. There's so many different breweries at them. And then next year we'll see. We're gonna get it everywhere we can.
All
Do you
right.
guys know if you're coming down to Savor this year? Because you guys were here last year, right?
Yeah, I won't be there, but someone will be there.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to go to the tap house there in San Francisco, just look for Zambo sitting at the end of the bar asking questions. So you're not going to be able to hide at the end of the bar for too much longer. Festival wise, we've got New York City Beer Week going on right now. Going to wrap up this weekend. St. Louis Centennial Festival is in St. Louis, Missouri. That's the 26th through the 28th. Michigan Brewers Guild Winter Beer Festival in Grand Rapids, Michigan is also the 26th through the 28th. Minnesota Brewers Guild Winter Beer Festival in St. Paul. St. Louis Centennial Beer Festival in St. Louis. Wait a minute, that's a repeat. And San Jose Craft Beer Festival in San Jose, California. Sacramento Beer Week. Charleston's Brewival. That's coming out here this next weekend here on the 28th as well. Oh, wait a minute.
That would be this weekend, and I'm going to bed as soon as we finish, so I can get up and drive down there.
Nice.
And Edmonton in Alberta, Canada, has got their International Beer Fest coming up the first week of March, the 6th and the 7th. So lots of fun things to do out there. Zambo, what's your next destination? What beer festival are you going to hang out at next?
Geez, what beer festival? I don't know. You mentioned Canada. My wife and I went there last year. Man, they were so excited to be craft brewing now. I just wanted to throw that in there. And I was in New Zealand 2 months ago, and they're about, 10 years behind us as industry goes. But man, are they excited about it. They're growing hops and everything. I'm doing a collaboration with a brewer from Wanaka Beer Works in Lake Wanaka, New Zealand, in May, and we're going to go to the Giants-Dodgers game afterwards, back to baseball there. And he can cheer for whichever side he wants. That's fine. We're going for fun. But, it's a lot of good fun. Everyone was asking me today about Boonville, and I think I have something else that weekend. I hate missing that. But, I'll be at GABF this year. I'm going to be judging, actually, so hopefully I'll see some of you guys in Denver. And hopefully we'll get the Craft Beer Conference back in San Francisco again so we can all go out and have a little beer together. Oh, yeah, I asked my wife to bring me these because you were talking about Minnesota. Sean O'Sullivan brought me some bratwurst from St. Joe's, Minnesota. This is dinner tonight. I'm very excited.
For people listening to the podcast, that would be a delicious package of sausages, of bratwurst sausages.
German brand bratwurst. Oh, is it? Not everyone can see us?
Well, we're gonna be we release this as a podcast as well. So.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, so. Yeah,
I need to be more colorful with my words next time.
No, you were fine this time. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks, Zambo, for joining us and hanging out with us. Until next week, everybody. Let's find some good friends, find some great 21st Amendment beer, and mind those P's and Q's.
Cheers, everybody.
This has been Pints and Quarts, brought to you by Craft Beer Nation. You can show your support for our podcast by subscribing to our content on YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, or our website, craftbeernation.org. Thanks for listening.